Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. This video came to me during meditation as an idea to share with you in hopes that it is of service on your journey of well-being and happiness. It's a strange topic possibly, and I will also say that I will be talking about disordered eating. So if that is a trigger for you, then proceed with caution and with a lot of self-care as you watch this video, if you choose to watch it at all. So this video, I want to share what I used to be eating in a day before becoming raw vegan now over 9 years ago. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tumi. I am a medical doctor, I'm a dancer, I'm a poet, and I'm passionate about living one's best, most delicious life. Really achieving and sustaining wonderful health as service to oneself, to one's loved ones, and to the world. I love making videos on here around raw veganism, plant-based living, minimalism, infusing that with dance, and also sharing my poem dances, which are dances that are crafted from original poetry and made to serve you as a healing vehicle. If you're interested in any of those things, then consider subscribing down below. And to those of you who have been watching this channel and or who've been subscribed for a long time or relatively new, thank you. Thank you for your kindness, your amazing comments I get consistently, your presence, your love. I so appreciate it, and I don't take time enough to say thank you, so thank you. Let's dive in. What I used to eat before shifting to a raw vegan lifestyle. So I'm not going to go way back. I'm not going to go back to when I was in the deep, dark place of my suicidal depression in medical school. If you're interested in that journey and also how different elements of health, not just food, really helped me heal from the asthma, the eczema, the depression, check out my book, Delicious Healing, which is both a memoir as well as a roadmap for healing your life and healing your health struggles. So Delicious Healing is available as a book, as an ebook. It's available on Amazon, and I recently, last year, made an audiobook version that I'm very proud of. I'll leave a link to all of that in the description box below. I want to fast forward to soon before I shifted my diet, so around 2010, early 2011, what I was eating before I made the transition, the shift. I'd already done a lot of healing work in terms of going to therapy, in terms of beginning to look at my emotions, even in terms of my diet, but I still had ways to go. And so back then I was living in New York City. I was a medical doctor. I still am a medical doctor, but I was working in the hospital. Right now, I virtually do all my medical work through my holistic health practice, which I absolutely love. So then I was working in a hospital, and I was part of a dance company in New York City, and I was eating the following. In the morning, I would start the day with a chai tea. I usually made it at home, but sometimes I would go to Starbucks or some other coffee shop and I would get a chai tea latte. And that consisted of chai tea, so caffeinated black tea. When I would make it at home, I'd put spices like cinnamon and cloves, and I would make that in dairy milk. I thought it was healthy because it was high protein because of the milk. It had all those lovely spices, and who doesn't start their day without caffeine, right? So I had every day starting with caffeine. I had no concept back then, understanding of how the dairy industry is incredibly cruel. I thought I was doing my part because I'd given up meat years before that, but I was still doing a lot of dairy and I was still eating fish. I didn't have the knowledge at that time of how the dairy industry was cruel to animals, and I didn't know how dairy was actually wrecking my health. So that's how breakfast would start. And as you can imagine, that's not a lot of calories. The only calories came from the milk and a lot of sugar that I would put in. I was putting brown sugar, so I thought I was being healthy. And then I would go to dance class or dance rehearsal. I was usually dancing around 4 to 6 hours a day. And if I didn't have rehearsal, I was going to be in the gym doing an advanced vinyasa yoga class or hitting the treadmill. I was exercising obsessively, partly because of my binging. I'll get to that in a moment. So, and if it was a day in the hospital, I would also go to the hospital if I wasn't doing rehearsal. I was also doing night shifts as a way also of being able to make it to dance rehearsal. I would do hospital night shifts. I'd work as a hospitalist in a well-known New York hospital at the time. Lunch, I wasn't a big snacker, so that was it. I would have a milk latte to tie me over until lunch. And lunch was whatever I could get my hands on. Maybe it would be a salad. That was rare, and that was a few times a week I would try to get in a salad, usually with fish on it or tuna, because again, got to get the protein, right? And I was calorie restricting in my mind. I didn't want to do carbs. I was scared of carbs. I thought carbs would make me have weight issues. And I was really trying to avoid that because, again, I was having binging episodes every once in a while. And so I was really trying to restrict my calories. So I would try to do a protein-rich salad. And then if not, if I was in the hospital, I would scarf in a chocolate chip cookie from it's just crazy. A chocolate chip cookie from the hospital cafeteria, some sort of packaged thing, or I'd get a soup from the cafeteria that was maybe a lentil bean soup that was usually had some sort of, I think, beans and vegetables in it, and about this small, so not very much. And then dinner. I'd go through my day, whether it was in the hospital or whether it was in dance classes or rehearsal. And then I would get home and famished, no surprise. I would then try to talk myself into eating something healthy and prepare myself against something with either fish or beans or brown rice and vegetables. A few times a week though, at least a few times a week, I was either eating out or ordering in. I was living in New York City. There were many options. Ordering in was usually pretty cheap Chinese food. I would get something called General Tso's tofu, which was a processed, fat-rich sauce that had fried tofu in there, a few broccoli. Usually I would eat around the broccoli over lots of brown rice. I would always ask for brown rice, but I would have lots of servings of brown rice and really just pig out on that, like eat until I was almost sick. And so eating out, ordering in a few times a week and overeating when I would do that on this processed high fat stuff that sometimes I actually look back now probably had MSG, which is terrible. It's a terrible additive. And then the next morning I'd feel terrible, almost hungover from that overeating. And I would tell myself, okay, I got to eat better today and really restrict my calories and start the day with, again, a caffeinated beverage to get myself going. I'm sharing this because there's a lot of what I eat in a day videos. I've shared what I eat in a day videos with my diet now that is full of life and cruelty-free, because it's completely a vegan lifestyle. But I think a lot of times we don't talk about where we were before. And you can look at people's channels and think, oh, people are eating perfectly, and you don't know where they came from. And so I wanted to share with you where I came from. This is what I was eating before I switched. And it was a diet that was just made me feel bad. I was constantly thinking about how to minimize the damage in terms of what I was eating. I was constantly worried about food, how much to eat, how much not to eat, where I was going to get my next food from, because I was hungry so much of the time. And I say all of this with a lot of self-kindness, a lot of love right now, and compassion. And also to you, if you are struggling, to know that people who have healed from this, as I have, came from a past where it was a struggle. So to share with you that there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you are struggling. I'm going to look at my notes really quickly because there's something else I want to share with you that I'm forgetting. Yeah. You know, apart from what I was eating back then, I was also mindlessly eating. So a lot of times when I would order in, even when I would eat out, if I was eating out and I would eat out alone sometimes, I would bring a book and I would read my book while I was eating. I talk about this in my book a lot, in Delicious Healing. I would eat and distract myself while eating because the food was really meant to numb me out. So mindless eating. And then I would also eat songs, books, movies that would also numb me out and that were of a low vibration, that were just junk. It was junk food in the way of media. I don't know if you recognize this or if you resonate with this. I was feeding myself media through books, movies, songs that were of a low vibration. I don't know how else to say it. That were not aligned with positivity. And they were also meant to numb me out. And so that was part of my diet, I think. Why did I change? I changed. There's a beautiful quote from Anaïs Nin, and it's something in the way of basically when the pain of being a tightly closed bud, if you're a flower and you're a tightly closed bud, when it feels too painful to remain closed, that's when you begin to open up. It's something like that. I'll leave the exact quote in the description box below. But I got to that point where it just became too painful to continue to live that way. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I was already doing a lot of work on myself in other ways, which I talk about in my book. And I was already starting to do a lot of research around diet and nutrition after my work in Niger as a field doctor. So between that readiness of the soul and the work and the research with diet, inevitably I got led to a living foods, plant foods diet. And after Woodstock Fruit Festival in 2011, I changed my diet and I did not look back. But the why was the pain. The why was I just didn't want to keep living that way. And as I talk about in my book, as I've talked about before, within a few weeks, my asthma was gone, my eczema cleared up, and a host of other things started shifting in a positive way. But that's what I used to eat in a day. And I just shake my head in awe and in thanksgiving for the shift that has happened. And it's a domino effect of what happened to my life after that. I have on this channel other what I eat in a day videos now in my life now. So you can check those out if you'd like. And I'll leave a link to a few of those down below. But I'm sharing this just again to give you motivation and encouragement if you're in the struggle, if you think, oh, if you look at my what I eat in a day videos now and think I could never do that. I used to be back there. Yeah, I just want to say that if you have an intention of how you want to eat in the morning and at the end of the day, it's just not that, please check out my webinar. I have a webinar called the 5 Strategies for Success on a Raw Vegan Diet. but it's about just clean eating. So whether or not you want to do a raw vegan diet, if you want to do a cooked vegan healthy diet, just a cooked healthy diet, check out that webinar, which walks you through really amazing strategies and tips on having what you want come true, having what you do be aligned with what you intend. And I speak in that webinar from my experience as well as my professional experience as a medical doctor. So that's what I wanted to leave you with. And one thing else I want to say is take a moment to celebrate and to share, if you can, share down below 1 or 2 ways you have uplifted, up-leveled in your health. It doesn't have to be in diet this year or in the past couple of years. Take a moment to celebrate that and to give yourself thanks. Oftentimes in our journeys, we're just focused on what do we want to change? What do we want to keep up-leveling without taking the time to celebrate and to give thanks to ourselves for the hard work we've given and we've put in. So if it feels good to you, please take a moment to put in the comments down below 1 or 2 ways you have up-leveled in your health this year. And take a moment just to give yourself a big hug in celebration for your journey. Our journeys are sacred. No matter where you are in it, it is sacred, sacred path. It is sacred work. That's what I used to eat in a day. I hope something in of that has been of help to you. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like, subscribe, share the video with anyone you think could benefit. I send you so much love on your path. Take care.